Here's everything you need to know about Bloomburrow. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what is Bloomburrow, what is the story we know so far, cards and products that have been revealed, and lastly, all the important dates that you need to know to make sure you don't miss out on anything. So Jack, what is Bloomburrow? I'm glad you asked, random viewer. Bloomburrow is the set that we're going to be getting after Modern Horizons 3. It's a set set in a world filled with anthropomorphic animals, which is basically a fancy way of saying animals with human characteristics. They're going to be wearing clothes, carrying weapons, etc. Mark Rosewater says himself that this will not have any humans in it to speak of. So if you're an animal loving hippie like me, you have lots to look forward to. He also said that this will be Magic's most charming set yet, and after seeing all the artwork, I can't say I disagree. So without further ado, let's get into the story. Bloomburrow, a peaceful plain where various animals live in harmony together and live free from the subjugation of human intervention. A world where mice can eat a bit of cheese without having to worry about getting decapitated by a mousetrap. Chickens can roam free without being farmed and turn into a gym bro's primary source of gains, and rats don't have to worry about getting shoved into a maze and be repeatedly tested on for the acquisition and benefit of human knowledge. However, humans aren't the only threat in the world of magic. In this plane, giant elementals known as calamity beasts have taken on the form of some of nature's most feared predators and come to show the citizens of Bloomburrow the real meaning of prey. Their motive? That we don't know yet. The calamity beasts are referred to as elementals and so will be representing one of each of the 5 colours in the world of magic. So far, we have the visuals of 3 calamity beasts. Maha, the great owl of the night, who is said to be their leader. You can see her depicted in this piece of artwork. From this, we can assume she will be representing the colour of black or blue. Next, we have Lumra, Bellow of the woods, a giant ferocious bear that we know will be representing green. Lastly, we have this giant wolf from this piece of artwork that I assume will be representing the colour of red due to the large amounts of red we can see shown in the image. These beasts are said to wreak havoc on the disaster scale of natural disasters, meaning when these predators roll up, they are going to be causing the same amount of destruction that an earthquake, tsunami, and cyclones would cause. You can bet that villages will be wrecked, blood will be spilled, and death will be spread amongst the world of Bloomburrow. So, we have our villains of the story, now for our heroes. Meet our main character, Mabel. A mouse scion who wields a sword forged from the tooth of a calamity beast. It is up to her and her group of furry avengers to band together and send the calamity beast back to the hell from which they came. The rest of the fellowship are made up of the following. First, we have Frog Gandalf, otherwise known as Glarb, King of the Frogs, said to be a powerful wizard. From the looks of things, this mystical amphibian will be using his wisdom and clairvoyance to steer the group onto the rightful path to victory. Gev, Scaled Scorch Lizard, who looks like our rogue of the company. We can only assume he'll be using his camouflage to sneak up on his enemies and sneak attack them with a lightning sickle to the throat. Hugs, Grizzly Guardian Badger. This big guy is clearly our muscle of the group, and is clearly no stranger to combat based on the various battle scars we can see on his brawny form. Next, we have Rabbit Legolas, who also goes by the name Phineas, our archer and marksman of the group. He's looking to pierce the heart of any calamity beast that crosses his path with his trusty acorn barbed arrows. Zorilin, the Cleric Bat. He's looking to bring the support of a higher power to the fray. This religious zealot wants to humble these giant freaks of nature by showing them but a snippet of his god's power. Lastly, we have Ral, the Crackling Wit Otter Mage. Now, we should already be familiar with this guy's power, as he's clearly the animal form of Ral, the Izzet Guild Mage. If we know anything about Izzet mages, he's going to be chucking lightning bolts first and asking questions later. The question on everyone's mind, will Mabel and her group of avenging heroes be able to stop the calamity beasts? Or will the world of Bloomburrow be brought to ruin by Maha and her mighty titans of nature? Right guys, let's get into the cards that have been revealed to us so far. So the first card we're going to be looking at today is Mabel, Heir to Cragflame. This is our main character that we spoke about earlier, and this is the card for her. She is a colorless, a red and white, so she's got a Boros card. She's a legendary creature, mouse soldier. Other mice you control get +1/+1. When Mabel, Heir to Cragflame enters, creates Cragflame, a legendary colorless equipment artifact token with equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has vigilance, trample and haste. She's also a free. So from this we know that she's a legendary creature, so she can be played as your commander. She's a mouse soldier, basically giving us a hint that mice are going to be an archetype in this set. This is then confirmed by saying other mice you control get +1/+1. So we know there's going to be quite a few mice cards in this set. And as Mark Rosewater said, we know that each color pairing is going to represent a certain animal. We can see that Mabel's color pairing is red-white, so it's fair to assume that mice are going to be red-white in the Boros colors. She gives your mice +1/+1, so she has mice synergy. She will do well in any deck based around mice, which is nice to know. And then she also has some equipment synergy because she creates a very nice equipment card as you play her. My first thoughts here is that she's doing a couple of things, right? Because she's buffing your other mice. Obviously, the more mice you have, the more cards you're getting this benefit. So there's that kind of go wide feeling to her. But at the same time, she's got the kind of make equipment and buff a single creature up thing going for her. So when I see this card, I think versatility. As far as Cragflame, the legendary colorless equipment artifact token, I think it's cool. It buffs something +1/+1 and gives it vigilance, trample and haste. So if you put this on a big boy or a big girl, this is going to do very nicely. Take a good advantage use of that trample, and also being able to apply pressure with the haste, and have been able to have blockers by having creatures with vigilance. So yeah, it's very cool. Equipment synergy, mice synergy, low costs, can play it as your commander. That's about all for Mabel. Looks like a fun card. Okay, next we have Lumra, our Calamity Beast. Lumra, Bellow of the Woods is a 6 mana, 4 colorless and 2 green legendary creature elemental bear. This lovely bear has vigilance and reach. You flyers ain't getting through. Bellow of the Woods' power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Not going to be very hard if you are playing green to control a shitload of lands. When she enters, mill 4 cards, then return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Bit more expensive, this one, as you would expect from a Calamity Beast. Very exciting, legendary creature. You can use Lumra as your commander. She's blocking flyers. And she is going to be a big, I think she's a lady. I keep referring to her as a lady, but pretty sure it's a lady. Her power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. Essentially, if you're ramping, getting loads of lands, which most of the time green is doing, she's going to have a bare minimum of power of a 6/6, because you'll have 6 lands when you play her, most likely. And then she's just going to keep going up the more lands you get. And then she's going to be good in cards that revolve around your graveyard, because when you play her, she mills 4. So like the green black decks, she would go quite nicely in, but obviously not as your commander, because you wouldn't be able to do that if you were playing black. But in the 99, if you're playing her in commander, then you could use her. She gets to return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped, so she synergizes very well with any land you have to sacrifice, because you can sacrifice those lands and then you play Lumra, play her back, get all those lands back and do it all again. I wish she had trample. That would make her extra fun. She has vigilance though, so I guess that's what the payoff is. And at least she has reach. She's a bear with reach. Other than that, she looks like a fun card and I can't wait to use her. Okay, the next cards we're going to be talking about is Bloomburrow's lands. Now, the only ones we've been revealed so far is the basic mountain cards. The fun thing about Bloomburrow is that each of our basic lands is going to come with a different art style for each different season. So that is 4 different art styles for each basic land. This is crazy. This is very cool. I love this. I can't believe how much effort the art team are putting into this set. Like,
to go through this amount of effort to put in this many different art designs for essentially what is just a resource card is just great. And not to go off on too much of a tangent, but Magic obviously gets a lot of stick for having their resource system the way it is, but it's because of their resource system that they can make their lands so special, their resource cards so special. Other games that do not use this system and they just use any cards as a resource system, resources, they can't really make them special. But when you have your own dedicated cards for resources, you can do beautiful stuff like this. And I think that's fantastic, and you can't say that they do not put the effort in. These mountains look really, really cool. If you look closely as well, the winter one, like the actual, I don't know if this is like, it looks like a raccoon. The raccoon has a different outfit even in this picture. But yeah, just very, very cool how it's the exact same image but just season change. I think that's so cool. So cool. So I can't wait to see what all the others look like. Okay, to finish up, we have our 2 starter deck cards. First one we're going to be looking at is Bria Riptide Rogue. Bria is a 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red, so she's a 4-cost legendary creature otter rogue. She has prowess, which is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. Other creatures you control have prowess. So not only does she have prowess, but she also gives it to all of your creatures. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. I think this card is very, very cool. I don't tend to be drawn towards really spell slinger decks, but this is a spell slinger deck that I would be very interested in building. Bria, I mean, first of all, let's just say the art. She looks amazing. She's just surfing on some sort of water, mystical magic water. Fantastic. And she's got a nice little, like, funny, cute, cheeky face on her. She looks like she's having a great time. Even though it's a spell slinger deck, it's encouraging you to cast spells. It's also all kind of building around your creatures because it makes your creatures unblockable. So immediately I'm thinking, put a load of creatures with on-hit abilities in this deck and you're going to be having a lot of fun. So yeah, that's definitely something that I would love to play around with. Other than that, there's not much more to say about this card. I love the art. I love the fact that building a deck around her looks pretty cool. She's a 4-cost, so she's not too expensive as well. She's a legendary creature, so you can play her as your commander. So yeah, I'm looking forward to play around with Bria. She looks like a lot of fun. Okay, moving on. Okay, so the last card we're going to be looking at is Bryke, Long Ear of the Law. Not sure if is it Bryke? No, it's not Bryke, is it? It's Burke? I don't fucking know. 4 colorless, 1 green, 1 white. Rabbit. Legendary creature, Rabbit Soldier. There we go. Got there in the end. Vigilance, and when we'll call him Bryke. Björk. When Björk, Long Ear of the Law, enters, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter attacks, double the number of 1/1 counters on it. This card, what are my thoughts? I don't tend to get that excited about just 1/1 counter type decks. They seem just a bit plain for me personally. So, but if you like that sort of stuff, then you're gonna love Björk because he's doubling your 1/1 counters whenever a creature you control attacks, as long as it has a 1/1 counter already on it. And when he enters, she puts other 1/1 counters. So he's going to be synergistic with any 1/1 counter deck that plays in green-white. He's very expensive, so bear that in mind. Probably not the best commander, especially at a 6 cost. I'd probably want a little bit more out of my commander if I was paying 6 costs than this, maybe, if that helps. But overall, I'm not that excited about this card. I think the art is cool, and he's got some sort of carrot club, which is cool. But what we do know is that he's a rabbit soldier, which means that rabbits are probably going to be our green-white color archetype, would be my guess. Also for Bria, we could also maybe assume that red-white might be otters. That is not confirmed, just a hunch. We'll see. That's all I've really got to say about Björk, Long Ear of the Law.
Right guys, so we've seen the cards that have been revealed to us so far, so now let's get into the foil treatments that we can expect from Bloomburrow. So starting things off, we have got our regular showcase borderless art style. This is not something new, we've seen this before. This looks fantastic. You can see here Lumra, Bellow of the Woods in her borderless art style, and wow, Look at this. Look at this card. This is so cool. I love the little rabbits literally like running and screaming for their life. It's hilarious. Lumra just absolutely wrecking havoc in this design. Not much more else to say about it apart from looks great. I'm happy to see it making a return in Bloomburrow. Okay, moving on. Next we have our showcase storybook. It's not called Storybook, Woodland. It's called Woodland. This is giving us like a storybook vibe if you look at it, and it's like those, you can imagine those big old thick books where it's like all old and fantasy, and wow, just looks, I could just look at this card for ages. Like these treatments are bloody beautiful. It goes so well with the theme of the set. The guest artist David Peterson is the one behind these treatments, I believe. I know he's at least designed 5 of them. I'm not sure he designed, oh yes he did. I can see his name in the bottom corner. So David did design this card, and wow, what a fantastic job he's done. They brought David in because he is known for a comic called Mouse Guard, and if you look at some of the art from Mouse Guard, you can definitely see a lot of the inspiration that is put into this. Fantastic, beautiful, beautiful treatment here. I love this, and I can't wait to see the others. This is going to be exclusively for the animal folk, so not the Calamity Beast. So yeah, can't wait to see the rest. Other than that, that's all for that. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so we've got our Field Note treatment. This, I believe, is exclusively for Calamity Beasts. The Field Notes treatment is basically if like animal researchers went into the wild and they were like making notes for these like mythical creatures or creatures they've never seen before, newly discovered species, they would like draw out the design, and then you can see on this card it's got like its tooth, and then you've got its paw print and stuff. So all of like this data that they've collected, some fossils at the top, so it gives me almost like dinosaur kind of vibes as well. I cannot wait to see all the Field Note styles for all the different Calamity Beasts. Me personally, I just want to collect all of these. Like, wow, looks incredible. So we've got Lumra here again, looking absolutely ferocious in this picture. Yeah, not much more to say about that. Just, I think these look fantastic. Okay, moving on. Our last treatment style we're going to be looking at is the raised anime foil style. So if you like anime, you're gonna love these. If you don't, you probably won't care for it. As I said, these are raised foils. The only other time we've got raised foils was in Phyrexia All Will Be One. That was the raised oil treatments, I believe. So they will be not exactly the same looking as these, but the raised style of it, I don't know. I've never actually seen these cards in person, so I can't really comment on what that will be like, but I have looked at images and stuff and they look cool. So I can imagine these are going to look quite intense in person, just to go with the absolute beautiful art style. These cards are exclusive to collector boosters, so if you don't get collector boosters, you don't have a chance of pulling one. Sorry. But you can always buy them singly. That's probably what I'll do. I don't really care for collector boosters. That's a topic for another day. But these are beautiful. Beautiful. If you like anime, then there's a lot to look forward to with these. I'm assuming there will be an anime treatment for each of the main characters, maybe, but I don't want to assume. We'll have to wait and see. But we see Mabel here, heir to Cragflame, in her lovely anime treatment, and she just looks incredible. I mean, look at that sword in anime treatment. Wow, fantastic.
Right guys, now we're going to move on to the products and dates that you've got to mark in your calendars. Starting off with the product, we've got our play boosters. If you don't already know, play boosters have replaced draft and set boosters. Basically, it just means that now you can draft with the set boosters. These boosters still have good chances of getting rares and stuff like that. The downside is that now drafting is essentially more expensive. We can't win them all. I much prefer this option because having like all these different type of boosters is just, in my opinion, confusing and just unnecessary. So I'm quite happy with the play booster change. The collector boosters is what you want to get if you want to get exclusive anime art cards, so bear that in mind if you want to pull those. And also if you're just interested in getting the different treatments and stuff like that, then collector boosters will be for you. But just bear in mind that these will come at a much larger price tag per booster. Moving on, so we've got the Bloomburrow bundle. What this will contain is 9 boosters, 30 basic lands, and 15 will be foil, 10 full arts, 5 regular, and 5 foil. you'll get 1 promo card and 1 spin down dice. And if you don't already know, a spin down dice is essentially a d20, but you shouldn't really use it as a d20 because the numbers are all in order. So at the top you'll have 19, 18, 17, and it's meant to be used to count your life. Don't use it as a d20 because they're easy to rig the throw, basically. Cool. Then we've got our pre-release pack. So this will be just like every other pre-release pack. So it will come with 1 foil year stamped rare or mythic rare. It will come with a arena code, so you can get some stuff on arena if you like that. 1 deck box and 1 spin down dice again. So this will be available if you are attending pre-release events. Then after that, we have got our 4 commander decks. I am so excited to check out these commander decks. I already know that everyone in my play group are all getting one of each. Not one of each, sorry. We are all choosing one, basically. Yeah. So that's going to be super fun. So I'm going to be able to do some content on that as well and talk about the different commander decks. I have no idea which one I'm going to get. I'll probably end up just choosing the one that nobody wants. But they all look so cool, so I don't really mind. Okay, lastly, we're going to talk about is the... Not lastly, sorry, second to lastly, we got the set codes. So we've got 3 different set codes for Bloomburrow. One being the regular set code, so these are cards that will be legal in standard. Okay, bear that in mind. The second set code is our commander set code. This is for cards, as it says, that will be legal in commander. And the last set code is special guest code. So these are cards from old sets that will be making a reappearance in Bloomburrow with new art that fits with the theme. But just bear in mind that the commander set code and the special guests are not standard legal cards, so you cannot use these in standard. The preview events will be Magic Story on the 2nd of July, so watch out for that if you are interested in the lore and stuff. Debut and previews will begin on July the 9th and will end July 19th, where we will get a full card image gallery and all the previews will be complete. We'll have a Magic Arena release on July the 30th for all you online players. And lastly, the global tabletop release will be on August 2nd. Gameplay events will have pre-release at your local game stores for July 26th to August 1st. Mark those dates in your calendar. I know I will be. I want to be getting to as many pre-releases as I can. I'm super excited to do some seals, some draft of Bloomburrow, so very excited. That's the opportunity if you want to get your hands on the cards early. And lastly, the Wizards Play Network store open house will be on August 2nd. For those that don't know, an open house event is specifically for newer players. And this is really, really good. Okay, if you want to start and get into the game but you're quite intimidated and you don't know where to start, then these events are going to be perfect. I reckon I'm going to be trying to get me and my play group down there because we haven't played with anyone yet outside of our play group, so I think it would be a really good way to start those. And if you're an experienced player, go down and help teach the newer players as well. But yes, there you go. That's all the events and dates to look forward to. If you yourself are a new player interested in taking part in the open houses and you're interested in Commander, might I suggest that you check out my video on how expensive it is to start playing Commander if you're interested in the costs and stuff. And if you like that video, why don't you check out my 5 top tips for new MTG Commander players. That is all for today, guys. I hope you are as excited for Bloomburrow as I am. I will be doing more videos in the future, so check out for those. And other than that, I will see you all again in the next one. Cheers.